Oh, I know my turning point with Nathan Fillion.
Is Becky going to be eating like that the whole time? Please say she is.
Hey, look, we've got to multitask today.
Also, I'm genuinely worried about Becky. Worried about Becky if she's going to be doing this podcast while she's driving.
Here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. We have broken through the 1-year barrier. We feel even closer to everybody. We are now beginning our new year of episodes, and I'm thrilled today to be joined by my two sisters. Lily, calling in from the Canary Islands. How are you?
I am good. I'm doing good. We are like kind of off on our recording schedule, so I'm smack in the middle of my work. Normally we record on the weekend, but I'm smack in the middle of my work day, which is weird because it's 6 p.m. But for me here, that's the middle of the day. And I said to my husband, who I work with, I got to actually run. I have a meeting, and he's like, "Oh, with who?" I was like, It just like, please close the door. Like, don't make any noise. He's like, what kind of meeting? I was like, I have a phone call, like now. And he was like, with who? I was like, it's for the podcast. He's like, do they pay you? Because you're like on the clock. And I was like, I make the clock, goddammit. They don't pay me, but maybe we'll get sponsors one day. I got to go by.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we're working on the Diet Root Beer sponsorship. I'm holding up the Diet Barks, hoping someone will sponsor us. And also joined by Becky, who may be driving in her car as she's taping today's episode. Beck, calling in from California. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me? Am I off mute now?
Yes, you are off mute.
Yes. I'm good. I'm learning how to use the mute button, which is a fabulous feature, especially if you have to pee in the middle of podcasting. I'm good. I am getting into my car right now, so it might actually be a little noisy as I transition, but I'm getting my car right now, and I'm going to podcast while I commute to work because it unfortunately takes me about an hour to drive to work. So I'm going to use this as an opportunity to catch up on my personal time, on my podcasting time. So just making every minute count today.
All right.
That's how I'm doing.
And as we go into the new year of podcasting, we had in the previous episode solicited questions and ideas from so many people. Awesome people gave us such great ideas. And then one person, one very important person gave us hairball.
God.
One very important.
You just made me panic. It must be like, when Jennifer Lopez gets like a cramp in her butt. It's like, for you, this is like your talent. Or like what Adele goes through, or Beyonce, when their voice like gets like, scratchy. Are you okay, Shy?
I'm fine. So there's this.
Don't worry.
So this one very important listener, despite us saying when they should give their input by, left it a day later, and that's our mother, who's still commenting on the Instagram phase, just throwing in ideas now.
She's so
I feel like Mom and I have so much in common. Where like she gave her input a day later, and I feel like I read everyone's input a day later. So she and I are very.
Wait, can I just? I don't know if our listeners get as much enjoyment out of this as I personally do, but if you've been following this podcast like somewhat consistently, then you know that this woman has an ability to like one-up herself in terms of cell phone stories.
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
like she recently tried to get on the wrong plane. Like she did not have a seat on the plane, and she tried to get on. She was like, "No, this is my plane." And while she was like dealing with that,
she made the ticketing agent give her someone else's seat so she could get on the plane.
Because she was like, "No, I was supposed to be on this plane." No, Mom is the Jedi of travelers, like for sure. And during all of those shenanigans that she was having at the airport, so she left her phone in a completely different, like she said it was 3 football fields away from where she was, and some nice guy ran her phone back to her because when he opened the phone, she had like her travel alert pop up and it said which gate she was at.
Wow, that's like both terrifying and unsafe and safe at the same time.
Well, it's like that superhero from the X-Force, Domino, who's like, cool, is luck. Like, Mom's superpower is luck.
Mom
like, that woman can lose a computer and have people return it to her.
Mom is the Jewish Cuban Domino.
That makes sense.
And Becky, are you like turning? You have a
Becky's,
turning signal going on?
Let me guess. Are you turning left or right? You're turning left.
I can't
You
put
can't make
the
a
mute
left.
button on and off. It will be dangerous. So
Okay.
I can either not use my turn signal or not use the mute button.
Don't use your turn signal.
Yeah, I think we've learned a lesson about turn signals here. Okay, so mom, writing in like 3 days late, comments on the Instagram page. Maybe because she gives us she constantly gives us ideas for the show, and we sort of stopped listening. So now she's like, oh, maybe if I comment. So Mom did come out with a great idea, and this would be to talk about brain candy shows. And what we're going to define brain candy shows are shows that you watch that make you so happy. It's not necessarily a guilty pleasure, although guilty pleasure could be a way to describe it, but it can't be like a universally critically acclaimed show. Like, for me, watching...
I don't find that that's a fair... Since I was not involved in the coining of this term, I'm not sure that's a fair
let me make the point. Let me make the point. If you talk about Parks and Rec now, which to me is like a warm blanket before I go to bed, or The Middle, or something like that, you're talking about shows that are widely renowned as great, right? And they make people feel like that. But
here's the thing. What if you're like me and only have good taste in shows, and I don't watch like the Drek that you and Becky watch? Then I don't have a show that's not critically acclaimed.
Everybody likes a little high fructose corn syrup.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I'm
gonna sniff you out. Don't think you don't watch Drek.
We're gonna start off.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. I got a very Dreky thing. I just found.
We're gonna start off with, and this could be a long running show, but it just can't be one that is like, I mean, good but not good. You know what I mean? Anyways, so I have a list of some brain candy shows. I know Becky has some that are on her mind. Lily's chomping on this right now because she...
You told me about this 5 seconds ago.
5 seconds ago, and I would add, again, she claims to have better taste, but Becky's going to undo her.
No. I can go low.
Okay. When Shy
You
goes
go low,
low,
I go lower.
you go low. All right,
I
Beck,
go low.
Beck, would you like to kick us off?
With a brain candy show?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm currently enjoying so much candy I might become diabetic with my Riverdale obsession. And I have to say, the thing about Riverdale, why I know it's brain candy, is because I've gone through some like ups and downs with it. You know, thinking like, oh, this is so ridiculous. I can't believe, like, and I find the more I tell myself, this is so silly, this is so ridiculous, but yet I keep watching and I won't stop watching, then I know it's brain candy because I'm consciously aware of how absurd it is, yet I'm like, but just one more. But I'm just like, but one more episode. Even I'm not. So,
it's like when I have like a bag of chocolate covered pretzels. Or maybe I go to a supermarket and I see a really old box of Entenmann's and I just like feel sad that they're sitting there and I don't want them to be lonely, so I bring them home and eat them.
That is...
Yes, I know what you mean. You feel like they're like, everyone's walking by and you're like, oh, no one's giving this Entenmann's any love. Yeah. They're probably feeling so embarrassed that no one wants to eat them up. Yeah,
I don't anthropomorphize like 1950s desserts. So I cannot relate to either one of you. However, is brain candy not the same thing as your guilty pleasure show?
They can coincide.
Sure.
They can coincide.
Sure. Yeah, sure. It can be the same thing.
Because guilty pleasure, you don't necessarily watch to like feel good.
No. They don't have to be. They don't have to be the same thing, but they can be. Because, for example, Great British Baking Show is brain candy, but I definitely don't shame watch it. I watch it with a lot of pride.
Oh, that's a good example of like they're actually making and eating candy for an hour straight with British relaxing British accents.
Can't have good reviews
and because it's British, there's no stakes. It's not like there's really any prize.
It's not because
it's just like, let's see who makes the most delicious sweet buns. You know, it's
So that one episode I watched with Becky was hilarious.
That
guy,
show,
like this one guy like burns himself like 15 times.
Season 2, where there was like a massacre in the kitchen. People were like losing fingers.
that show though is so relaxing. It will relax the muscles in your body. Like you will just sink into your chair.
Valiant.
Okay, so we've got the Riverdale and the Great British Baking Show.
2 very, very different shows, each with their own, delicious.
We get it,
pudding.
Becky. You have eclectic direct taste.
And wait, I'm gonna give Becky credit for one of the ultimate brain candy shows and brain candy moments I experienced this year, which was when she introduced us to the Beast Slayer, whatever that show was. Oh my! On Netflix.
I was thinking about that too. Beast Master.
It's like
that's when we knew Becky was not messing around.
Yeah,
she was like, "I'm going to take the direct TV show title from you, Shy, and I am going to one up you."
But I have to tell you, lately I've been pretty stressed, and I keep thinking about how I want to go back and finish the season of Beastmaster because I know it will relax me.
I want to finish it too, so we should arrange a little texty conversation when that happens.
Sounds good.
I mean, if you're telling me there's a TV show where Tiki Barber and a bunch of foreign hosts narrate people falling off of giant towers, I'm in.
I'm in, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, okay, Lily, do you have guilty pleasure shows?
Okay. So I was going to say, like, my go-to brain candy when I is Friends, but that doesn't count, right? Because it's too critically acclaimed.
But I would say over time, Friends is losing its critical acclaimedness. The actors in it are considered great, and there are great moments in that show, but as time goes on, I'm not sure.
Maybe for you personally, but I feel like the general public, it's still pretty. I mean, it's no Seinfeld, but it's pretty highly regarded.
Friends is on. I agree that Friends is probably on the border, but I would say Friends now, the way people watch Friends now on Netflix, like our cousins Shelly and Mindy, and the two of you, and you guys put on Friends. Alli puts on Friends sometimes in the middle of the night.
I can have that on anytime, anywhere. It's Valium for me. Relaxes my brain. It was the first thought I had when you said brain candy.
And can I also say, Alli seems to really like the Tom Selleck period.
Oh, I love the Richard period.
The Richard period's great.
Because that show, you're talking about people like who grew up with the Tom Selleck from 3 Men and a Little Baby, like the hottest Tom Selleck.
That is the hottest Tom Selleck, for sure.
Yeah.
Forget Magnum.
Sure
3 Men and a Little Baby.
Sexy
He's like
Tom
throwing those parties, watching things on his VCR.
Right, exactly. There's like murals on the walls, and his mustache is so thick.
I don't watch that movie. That's a great movie.
Like, think about
Ted Danson, Tom Selleck, and who's the third one?
Gutenberg. Think about how sexy those 3 bachelors living together were, that Gutenberg was the least sexy one of the group.
He really was. But Ted Danson and Tom Selleck, come on.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
That's a buddy cop show waiting to happen. When are we going to get Tom Selleck on The Good Place?
Oh, that would be so funny.
That'd be a fun reunion.
Anyways, so that was my go-to, and then I have a brain candy that works in my case as well as a guilty pleasure, but I get the full candiness out of it when I watch it with Alli. Like,
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Like, that is my 100% guilty pleasure, but it really only works its true magic when I get to watch with her. I mean, and we gotta pause every 1 second to talk.
That's like the pixie sticks of brain candy. That's
like 100%. Or that lick
rot your teeth and
you
your
just
brain.
The stick one piece of candy into mushed up like a ground candy
that you would get at the Dep by the 66 bus stop on Côte St. Luc Road.
What was it called?
Dip 'em, lick 'em, or dipsticks, or I don't know.
I'm afraid if I Google this, I'm gonna get arrested. But
it was just like a long piece of Pez, and then powdered sugar.
A giant piece of candy that you then dip in like cocaine ground up candy form.
Now I have to say this, I don't remember once. And then not only that, you'd lick it and it would get all wet and pick up the other sugar. Like, it's disgusting. It's like you're eating a bag of sugar and spit.
Yeah, but do you remember ever being at the playground on recess and kids didn't have this dip part and then they would just use their finger?
No.
Because they eat the whole
memories.
part.
I just remember
lick their finger and dip it in.
I just remember that for all the junk food we were allowed to have, that was a bridge too far for Mom and Dad. That was not something we were allowed in our house.
Right.
And the cool kids always had the dip 'em lick 'em sticks.
It's apparently it's called Fun Dip Candy now.
Fun Dip. Called. Was that called? I don't think.
No,
it's called.
I think that's what it was.
They
that's
definitely
what it's called.
rebranded. They rebranded it.
Yeah, because like Lick a Stick is probably what it was called, and
but it was like the 90s, so who cares?
So anyway, so yes, the Keeping Up with the Kardashians is definitely like my trashiest candy that I can watch. But I give Alli a lot of credit because it's made more delicious when I watch with her. And then I have a secret one that I didn't have anything to watch the other day. Like Becky said, I was really, really stressed out. I wanted to do the elliptical, but I didn't want to start a new show. I didn't have any shows to watch, really. I was maxed out, and I went back to an old favorite of mine that I just need like a few episodes. I don't need to do the whole season, but Project Runway.
Ooh,
wow.
Project Runway.
Yeah.
Is that with Tyra Banks?
No, that one.
No. America's Next Top Model.
I bar myself from watching because that is just too low. But I would totally watch that.
So good. It's so good.
After watching Neon Demon, I can't watch anything about models ever again.
And then I love watching their designs. I love how snooty Heidi Klum and her posse of Michael Kors are. I don't know.
Posse of Michael Kors. Is that multiple Michael Kors or
there's it's like her
handbags?
Four Michael Kors. And I find it very impressive to see what these people are able to do out of they make them use, I don't know, they're like, take this raincoat and this burlap sack and a bunch of apples and make a haute couture gown. And some of the people are really able to do it, and I find it fascinating. It's good for 45 minutes to melt my brain. So those are my somewhat secret ones.
So those are good ones. Those are really good ones. Okay, so I'm gonna work my way up my list here because there are some obvious ones that you'll know when I get to the top, but at the bottom of my list you have Two Broke Girls.
Oh.
That's a show that I have never watched outside of being on an airplane, and specifically, in fact, you can hear the airplanes taking off in the background of Becky's drive right now.
Okay, I'll put you on mute.
Specifically, when you are driving, specifically in the last 45 minutes of a 12-hour flight, I've taken many 11-hour and above direct flights to places, and in the last 15 to 45 minutes when you're just super anxious to get home.
You want to make yourself more anxious by watching that show?
No, that show, it's sort of I don't know, it's like it has a reverse effect on what it would on the ground. If you were on the ground going at normal speed, it would be terrible. But in that moment, at that speed, with the level of anxiety of wanting to get home, there's something about the bottom of the barrel humor of that show. Bottom of the barrel humor of that show. That show is
it's just innuendo and racist Asian jokes.
And it's dated for the 80s. It's dated, right? It's not even dated for now. But it has talented people in it, and there's something about it on the airplane. So for me, Two Broke Girls is a guilty pleasure,
it's got
a brain
the
candy.
Great Kat Dennings, so.
And it has the Great Kat Dennings and a bit of shame watching. And Jennifer Coolidge is in it too.
True.
So, but again, it has all of those things. Okay. Then another one that is definitely brain candy. I went through a phase where I watched this every night recently, which is Fuller House. To the point where I had to stop because I got through
the definition of brain candy.
I got through it so quickly that I had to slow down. I'm like, no, who's DJ gonna pick? The new handsome doctor or Steve?
Steve. Oh my gosh.
Steve back?
Yeah, and
Steve comes back,
and he's bald. And he ends up dating a girl named CJ who looks like DJ.
Like DJ? Okay. You're making the show sound way better than it is, because even Mom couldn't get through the pilot with me.
No, the pilot's not good, but I gotta tell you, once they start focusing on the Gibbler family dynamics, it's amazing.
Okay. But now I feel like we were able to find a candy that matches up with my direct show. So you're like just on the epitome, I guess maybe a Snickers of what candy is.
What do you mean?
A mini Snickers? Like your Fuller House. My Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Becky, that's like eating pixie sticks.
Oh.
Like the shittiness of candy. I was like, Fuller House.
No. Fuller House is not as good as a Snickers. Sorry.
Yeah, Fuller House. We're talking like that.
But I feel like it's a perfect definition of.
That gum that's made out of just sugar dust that's in a big long tongue that rolls up.
Yeah.
My God, what was that called?
What was that called?
I don't know, like
gum tape or something.
Bubble
You're
tape.
on to something. Bubble tape. I'm
Bubble tape.
gonna look this up now.
I don't know.
I'm writing it down.
I can't wait till we start stumbling on candies that didn't exist outside of where we lived, right? Like the Joe Louis and the Mae West.
Joe Louis, Mae West. What was the difference between a Joe Louis and a Mae West?
The Mae West was vanilla covered in chocolate with cream in the middle, and the Joe Louis was chocolate covered in chocolate with chocolate cream in the middle, or something like that.
Ooh, both were so good.
Those were really good.
I remember I had detention once in elementary school, and Mom was like rooting for me at detention, and she let me have a Mae West as my snack for detention.
What? Why did you get a special treat for getting detention?
Because we behaved so well that Mom especially was probably like, oh, thank God. Because we didn't really do anything like that bad. We just, I don't know, didn't like to go to school. And so then I would say another one, and I agree with Becky on Riverdale, I love it. And then another one before we switch to our topic of actors, I'll just say Saved by the Bell.
Riverdale is the Snickers of
yes, yeah, Riverdale, it has protein. It has protein. But I would say Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell.
That's critically acclaimed.
But I'm going to drill in the college years.
Ooh, done.
Oh,
the college years.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that is
brilliant,
tricky.
Andy.
Where here are some of the things that happen. Number one, there's an entire episode built around Zach trying to scam REM tickets from the two girls he has crushes on.
How happy did that make you? That put you in your happy place.
And now I have rewatched that episode so many times. And then also they had that like weird muscular former football star dorm RA or professor or whatever who was like the new Mr. Belding. He was like a wrestler. He was huge. It was really intense, and I remember it premiered on primetime, so it wasn't during the weekend, and I remember staying up to watch it. Oh, so exciting. So Saved by the Bell, the college years.
Okay, but Becky's right. It was called Bubble Tape, and it's made by Hubba Bubba, so I'm assuming it existed in the United States.
Okay. All right, now Becky, when we were preparing for this, came up with a brilliant spin on this, which is sometimes it's not really about the show. Sometimes it is about the actor. Certain actors, they can be served to you covered in whipped cream with cherries on top and pixie stick dust, and you will watch what they are in. This isn't to say we're not talking Al Pacino. Oh, I'll watch anything.
You're taking that metaphor far.
Yeah, exactly. These think of them as the dip sticks that get dipped into the sugar. There are certain actors and celebrities. And I'll start this because, as I've said many times, Rachel Bilson is at the tippy top of my list. She's a national treasure. Heart of Dixie, amazing. Take Two. In fact, my biggest complaint about the OC, not enough Rachel Bilson in it.
She didn't like grow into herself yet. Like
it's
she had to
know. It's good to know someone's rooting for her, Shy.
I adore her. She's so cute. She's so funny. She's so charming. I just want to hang out with her.
Rachel Bilson. Yeah. Lily, who's yours?
I don't know. I think your example of Rachel Bilson makes a lot more sense. Because my initial one was John Cusack, but I guess that doesn't apply.
He's not in TV shows.
Oh, it has to be TV shows? I mean, it could be movies.
Rachel Bilson is in movies sometimes. She was in the one.
But I feel like we're. No, I guess
no. I didn't. We're doing just TV shows.
We're really doing TV shows, and also I feel like John Cusack's in a lot of like darker stuff these days.
True, but a lot of my like favorite movies he's in. I don't know. I don't know. So I did not have my like I was not clear on the direction of this, but Rachel Bilson sets the tone.
We both love John Cusack, but of different eras. See, I love Better Off Dead to Say Anything era John Cusack. And
I love that John Cusack too.
Gross Point Blank.
Sure, but I can Gross Point Blank and earlier. I'm all good.
Can I give you my example, Lily, and then maybe that will help?
I'm very excited.
Anybody from the Riverdale cast?
No, but potentially down the line.
We're getting there with Madeline Patch, whatever, the woman who plays Cheryl Blossom. She could be one for sure.
Cheryl freaking Blossom. So for me, it's Nathan Fillion, where like I certainly don't watch all his shows, but I got to tell you, if I was flipping channels and his face appears, I'll stick with it. I love Nathan Fillion.
Mark Hamill. Done.
There you go.
Mark Harmon?
Harmon. Sorry, not Hammond. Harmon.
As you continue to turn into mom.
Yeah, that guy. If one of his movies is on, if any of the NCIS episodes is on, and like his face, like Becky said, if I'm channel surfing for some reason and his face comes across the screen, I'll stop. That guy is yummy candy.
Nathan Fillion, he's so charming. He's so handsome. He's so lovable.
And you have a connection to Nathan Fillion, which
did you meet him?
I did. Okay, so here's one. So I think I had always loved Nathan Fillion. I watched Firefly. I was really into that show, and Serenity and the movie. But one of my first jobs as a production assistant when I was living in New York was on the pilot for his TV show Castle. And I actually got to meet him because he came into the production office one day, and he came in, unannounced. He had a box of like pastries or donuts or something for the office, and like, we're the production office staff. Nobody cares about us. Nobody cares about who we are or what we do. And he was just so sweet, and he brought us these like treats, and he chatted with everyone, and you kind of felt like there was this halo glowing around him of just like, this is the best guy there could be. And so if I wasn't sure about how much I loved him, that moment just sealed the deal. And I'm just awesome. He's the best.
So this is
wait, one quick Nathan Fillion thing that's a perfect thing. I think it's in Big Mouth. He voices a golden retriever. And I feel like that's like Nathan Fillion's spirit animal is the golden retriever. Is that what it's from?
Do you guys watch Santa Clarita? Because he plays a bad guy in that.
But he's still Nathan Fillion.
He's adorable.
He's adorable.
He was in one of the Percy Jackson the Lightning Thief movies, which I actually liked a lot. He has a cameo. He has a cameo as I think he's supposed to be like Mercury, the Greek god, only he runs like a UPS organization, like a DHL or a UPS, because that's the manifestation of Mercury in that world, as he delivers packages really fast. Anyways, he's super lovable.
Question. Do you think Brendan Fraser could have been a Nathan Fillion?
Guys, I read the most interesting article about Brendan Fraser that it's like it could be a whole episode.
Said nobody.
No one ever.
Said nobody.
How did you read that? It was GQ, right? Ben?
I don't remember what it was in, but yeah, I read that article too. But anyways,
wait, does it talk about School Ties? That was a big moment for us.
It does
talk about School Ties, Encino Man,
and
George
how
of the
there
Jungle.
was like a moment where Brendan Fraser was like the biggest star, the Mummy.
And he disappeared. And then he disappeared. And it talks about that too. And but yeah, I think he could. I think you're 100% right, Beck. And he's coming back. He's on that new show, Trust, isn't it called? On HBO?
He's working his way back.
He's working his way back. And I feel like there is a space in our culture for Brendan Fraser.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think
is.
Those first two Mummy movies are absolutely great, and he's adorable in them. And he's also a good actor. Again, for us as kids, like, School Ties came, I don't remember what year it was, but I was 13 or maybe a little bit older, maybe a little younger. And it's a movie if nobody's seen it. It's about a kid who goes to a prep school and hides his Jewish identity, and the other kids find out his Jewish. Matt Damon, I think, is the bad guy.
Instigator.
Isn't it? Yeah. And
but Brendan Fraser, there could be like no one that looks less Jewish, but that's besides the point.
But that was really part of.
But that was kind of like the point.
That was a big identity movie. We talked about that in school. We talked about that with our parents. That was a really special movie. Anyways, so back to a Brain Candy star. When did you? So Nathan Fillion, you fell in love with him as a human when you met him, but which performance did you start liking Nathan Fillion in?
It was for sure Firefly. Now, but I didn't see Firefly when it first came out. I probably saw it 5 years later or something. So I knew who Nathan Fillion was. He was around. I was like, all right, whatever. Who cares about this guy? And then I saw Firefly, and I was like, I love you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Lil?
I'm just gonna. I'm just double checking the name of it.
The Presidio? Mark Harmon and the Presidio?
No, hold on.
Well, while you're checking, I'll just say...
Yeah. So, yeah, you go.
So I always loved Rachel Bilson from The OC, but it wasn't enough of her. She was great in Jumper, but when one day...
Was she, though?
Jumper? Okay.
When one day
Noted.
Mom told me that she watched Heart of Dixie, and I knew in my heart I would like it, and I started. And then as a fish out of water doctor in the South, in a small town in the South.
I gotta tell you, the more you pitch it, the more I want to watch it.
And so now, so that's where I truly confirmed I could watch anything with her in it.
Definitely Chicago Hope was one of the first times I saw him, and loved him.
He joined late in the later seasons, like the post-Mandy Patinkin. He was like the handsome doctor.
Yeah, and like just loved him. I was like, I'll watch you do anything. It's probably where my love for Grey's Anatomy comes from.
Probably.
I would say like that's probably when I first saw him. I feel like there was one other thing, but nothing is like I'm looking at his IMDb and I'm like, that's definitely the one.
So there's another actor who
that guy.
Well, see, here's the thing. I think that it's one point in her career, my other person like this would have been Kristen Bell, but I think Kristen Bell has done enough like critically acclaimed stuff now. I'm not saying that I'm not taking away from talent versus talent. I adore her and Rachel Bilson, no, there's no question, but she's done House of Lies and the Frozen stuff. Like she's kind of, it's a different conversation.
And the Good Place is a different conversation.
Exactly.
Another thing is obviously I'd watch Zachary Levi in anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you can't reduce your beloved Chuck to this game.
No. I'm not saying Chuck is part of Brain Candy. Chuck is sophisticated, emotional. But I would watch him.
Now we're just naming actors we'd watch in anything.
Okay, all right.
So I can go back. I can circle back to John Cusack.
All right. Different show. Okay, so now I've prepared some by Renter Mez just to mess with your heads, based on things that I don't know a lot about.
Two are easy and one is very hard.
Okay, so the first one is Kardashian based.
I want to hear Becky. Becky knows nothing about this.
I want to hear that's going to make it extra fun.
You know nothing about the Kardashians.
First one is Kardashian based, and that is Kardashian division here, okay? By Renter Meh, Khloe, Kim, or Kris. And the reason why I threw in Kris is because it seems that nobody likes Kourtney. I happen to like Kourtney a lot.
Which one's Kris? Is that the mom?
That's the mom. So I'm making it extra hard here. I'm not putting one of the other siblings that people don't generally root for.
Okay.
So Khloe, Kim, or Kris. Lily, you start because you know these.
No, I'm going last.
Oh, okay.
I thought you said Kourtney. Kourtney
no,
or
he's
Khloe?
not putting Kourtney because she's the worst.
No, I'm just saying.
No, he likes her.
I like Kourtney.
So he didn't put it on. He didn't put her.
I sometimes pick my Kardashian based on
delivered her own baby.
Kourtney.
Oh, okay.
I sometimes start liking a Kardashian just to antagonize Alli, so I know like Alli's rooting against Kourtney.
The whole Kourtney thing drives Alli nuts.
But I like Kourtney? Does she complain about it?
Yeah. Like avidly.
It's come up.
It's come up before. I'm not saying you need to go to couples therapy, but it's an issue.
All right, I should go first so Lily doesn't accept me with any of her with any of her knowledge. So I'm going to buy Khloe because I know the least about her, so therefore probably the least offended by her because it's a really
very good way to put it. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to. What were the other two options?
Kim and Kris.
Okay, I'm going to rent Kim because why not? And I'm going to make Kris because she seems banana. No, I'm going to rent Kim.
I was going to say,
because I feel like
wrong answer.
I feel like she's like a good businesswoman. We could have some like nice chats. I bet she's like pretty smart. And then I'm going to make Kris because she seems like she's super, super wacky, and I don't think I can handle that.
Okay, so
Wrong
I'm
Wrong answer?
gonna buy Kim because she's the original deal. She's the original deal. She's the mastermind of this entire operation.
Alli, where's Alli? Alli.
And I'm going to wait.
You're in my Drex zone now.
I'm gonna rent Chris because you got to pay respect to the mothers. And I'm gonna meh Chloe, not because Chloe isn't great, but at one time it was so cool for everyone to love Chloe the most. Oh, Chloe's the best. She's so cool. But Chloe is dating guys who hang out at nightclubs near the gas station near the Carvel ice cream in our neighborhood. That's where that guy got busted. And I feel like I'm holding back a rent or a buy for Chloe so that hopefully she'll raise her game a bit and her judgment. So that's where I am.
Okay, so you actually know a lot about the Kardashians.
Right. So what you're saying is you're a liar.
I've never watched a full episode, but you just absorb it in my house.
The best was the last time I watched it when I was at your house in the summer. Alli and I reserved our special time where we can watch it and then talk through the entire thing and pause it multiple times. And Dad was sitting next to us. He was so confused. He was just like, who? What? Why? Over and over again. It was amazing. It's like I think it's time for me to take a nap.
All right, Lily, tell us what the right answer is.
Yeah,
Also,
obviously we're buying Chloe. Duh.
I have to cross the bridge, so I might lose reception. Sorry.
Okay.
Lily, what's your answer? Okay.
Buying Chloe, renting Chris, Mang Kim, because she's the worst. So that's definitely how it's going. She's the worst, and then Courtney's the worst after that. Yeah, 100. Chloe's the best. Chris is bananas and hilarious and kind of reminds me of Mom sometimes, the way everybody makes fun of her. And she always just wants to be with her kids, and have everybody be together in the same room all the time. I love it.
It is like Mom.
Yeah, she wants everybody together. And then Kim is such a bitch. She is a huge bitch. So she has to be mad.
So, okay, all right. Now the next one. This is another area I'll know almost nothing about, and then we're going to drill down into it. And I'm going to dedicate these next two categories to our dear cousin Shelly and our cousin Mindy.
And Steph, my friend Steph.
And anyone who absorbs the Shondaverse. And Alli, of course. So in the Shondaverse... ShondaLand, sorry.
It's okay.
In the ShondaLand.
Start there.
Buy, rent, or meh, Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, or How to Get Away with Murder?
I only watch Grey's, but I'm going to guess I'm going to obviously buy Grey's because it's Grey's. And then I imagine after that I would rent Scandal and meh, How to Get Away with Murder?
Yeah,
I thought they were the same show for a while, so.
I think Becky's correct.
I'm going to buy Scandal. And
okay,
I'm going to...
that's just not... that's a little bit offensive to us, but whatever.
Kerry Washington is awesome. And
that is true.
Isn't Tony Goldwyn in that show? Aren't there all these old time? I feel like there's all these former. Okay, so I'm gonna buy that show.
Except it's about Washington, and I feel you wouldn't actually want to watch it.
No, I would never watch it. I've never watched a minute of that show. I've in fact the only one of these I've watched a minute of is Grey's Anatomy, which is why I can confidently make that one meh. Okay, so now let's get into Grey's. Okay, now this is I'm doing it at a very, very 50,000 foot level because after these three characters, I only know a fourth one named McSteamy. So the first one is someone named Grey, and the second one is a McDreamy, and the third one is Bailey. Which buy, rent, or meh.
We forgot the doctor that treated Becky last week.
Yeah, well, no, that's McSteamy, I thought.
True.
No, that's Dr. Sexy Pants.
This is a tough one.
Can you tell me who the characters are, though?
Grey is Meredith Grey, the main character, who can be very annoying. McDreamy...
in the last couple seasons,
she's gotten better.
Yeah.
McDreamy, I think I have to buy McDreamy because it's Patrick Dempsey. Hello, Patrick Dempsey.
So in addition to,
I feel like that's scandalous. Okay.
It is scandalous. It is,
I cannot believe that's your answer. Oh my God, Shelly's private WhatsApp chat of reactions to the podcast is going to be blowing up.
Shelly's like driving somewhere right now, screaming into her steering wheel. I'm sorry, Shelly, we're laughing with you, not at you. Yeah, I guess, and then I would rent Meredith, and I might meh Bailey.
Okay, first of all, you're completely wrong on every level. I'm obviously going to buy Meredith because she's the title character of the show. It's her narration. You know, love her or hate her, at the end of the day, if you're going back watching week to week,
hold on.
she's hooking you in.
Becky, aren't you the person that told me that when shows have, like, overt narrators... I mean, and I'm not talking about
Becky,
flashback shows.
Do you ever listen to the narration? I always like only hear the last like 3 words, and I'm like, what have I been doing while they're narrating?
She narrates the opening and the close of every episode, or the opening. All she says is like, doctors are meant to put things back together, but sometimes we just fall apart.
And then at the end of the episode, then it comes back and they're like, and things do stay together and fall apart. Like,
so I 100%.
Was I supposed to remember?
But it's pretty much the same thing every time about how doctors are like meant to heal people, but sometimes they're broken themselves. That's just the same thing over and over. Same. They just use a thesaurus and swap out the words. Like, that's it. So I'm buying Meredith Grey because it's her show. 1. Then I'm renting Bailey because she's a strong, tough female character. She's driving them forward. She's always striving for the best. She's like
yours
super
is way better.
She trained them. She turned them into the doctors that they are. She can be super like self-righteous sometimes, and it drives me crazy. But I feel like she does get to take a lot of ownership over, you know, all of her doctors that have grown up under her wing. And then I mang McDreamy because, you know what, like, the fact that he even considered cheating on her, please.
You're right.
Enough. Have you not been through enough? Like, that's it.
No, you're right. I stand corrected.
Literally, figuratively, you're dead.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that Meredith Grey is like the character from Mystery Men, played the Sphinx, where he consistently says like crazy quotes like, I'm reading one right now. When you balance a tack hammer on your head, you will head off your foes with a balanced attack. Or your temper is very quick, my friend, but until you learn to master your temper, your temper will become your master.
Yes, that is exactly, in fact, they might have plagiarized some of those lines.
So I'm going to pick McDreamy because Patrick Dempsey was in Can't Buy Me Love.
There's something there.
Yet another 80s movie that like sends all of the worst possible messages.
All of the worst possible
messages. Terrible messages. But he was also in Mobsters. Have I talked about Mobsters before? Which is I
don't think so.
It's the think of it like Young Guns, or like the Brat Pack does the Mafia. So they're not exactly Brat Packers, but it's Christian Slater, Patrick Dempsey, Richard Grieco, and Kostas Mandylor play.
Who? I don't know any of those people are.
3 names you said.
They were big ones. Anyways, the point is they play like young versions of Charlie Luciano, and Patrick Dempsey plays Meyer Lansky.
I like how you're saying the names of these actors as if they're like household names.
Coster Manjali, the older brother of.
If you are listening to this program and you remember Kostas Mandylor when he was the attractive cop when he was the attractive cop on picket fences, please send me a note.
Oh, that guy! And wasn't he in My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yeah, he plays one of the cousin Nicks, I think.
Yeah, in My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
The one who hangs out with Joey Fatone in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Yeah.
All right, I'm arriving at work, so let's get to the last. Do we have one more, or is that it?
No, that was it. Okay, and then I'm gonna rent Bailey and Meg Gray because it just seems every time I watch the show, she seems like she's just got a pun on her. Just seems unhappy.
It's true. I mean, a lot happened to her. To be fair, but
and before you get going, does anyone have any things that they're watching? Anything they want to recommend? I know our last episode had a ton of recommendations, so we might not necessarily have a million new things.
It made me remember Santa Clarita Diet, this episode with the Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
And
I should watch.
I thought season 2 was adorable. Like, that's fun. I don't know. Maybe that goes in the category of brain candy. Timothy Oliphant. I will watch that guy do anything.
Oh, that's a good one.
And Drew Barrymore. So both are great. It's kind of gory, but it's funny. And the humor is actually quite good. So I recommend some fun zombie laughable stuff.
Cool.
Santa Clarita Diet.
Well, Becky and I have been doing this game where we watch a show and text each other during the show, and I don't know what we should call this, but then like people have joined in with us. Yeah, maybe we need a new glossary term, but we did this with Riverdale. And we're on a chat now with Lanz talking about Riverdale, and now
that's hilarious.
And now
we have a chat with Alana about Alana. I don't know why I called her
a different Alana. Two different Alanas. Alana from the Alana we're talking about. You're right. We have one on
Alana and Alana.
Yeah, there's two different people. There's Alana.
So Shy and I are on one with Alana
about Money Heist.
Money Heist from Atlanta from Montreal.
So Becky and I feel like maybe we should do Castle. I've kind of always wanted to see Castle, and I love Nathan Fillion too.
I think we should watch Castle.
So if anyone wants to join us
do Castle.
in chit-chatting about Castle, let us know. We'll probably start watching it this week, and then by the time this one airs,
like a lot of seasons.
No, that's it.
Right?
It's going to take us a while to get through Castle. That's fine. It's like having like a series of books, like beach reading. I'm excited. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
By the time we're done watching Castle, his new show, The Rookie, will be finished. It's run. It's series finale, and then we can start that.
I love it.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Becky, where can people follow you? You're breaking up though a bit.
Follow me at PaperBKPrincess on Twitter. Oh my God, it's really true. It's like we're ending the podcast, and my stomach just starts hurting. I'm not kidding.
It's very, very relaxing podcast. Just.
I have to go. I'm going to start schwitzing.
All right. Lily, where can people follow you?
TTK Gomez on Twitter, and it's a Monday currently, and I looked at my Twitter, so I'm expanding from the weekend, people.
That is awesome. So the music from What Does It Eat will kick in, and I'll tell you that you can catch me at Pancake for a Table on Twitter and Instagram, pancakeforatable.com for all of the shenanigans. And if you'd like to hear some of the other podcasts that I participate in, we've got Behind the Music with Ash of Goldnerds fame, and now I am a regular appearer on the Goldnerds podcast for fans of the Goldbergs. We break down weekly episodes and talk about the show. It's a lot of fun. And with that, we will be at All-Star Comic-Con in Tyson's Corner in June 2019. Get tickets. Come hang out. Love to see you there. And with that, thank you guys for doing this. Love you.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
So fun. Have a great day at work.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do.
Becky went to friggin' film school, Shy. Like, she went to film school, yet she does not realize that you can mute this call.
No, I didn't pretend.
She's not speaking. We don't have to hear her shenanigans.